Veterans Hall, Sturbridge Town Hall, Veterans Memorial Hall, 308 Main Street in Sturbridge. So if you'd like to join us, we are live. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act 2021, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable laws. This means that members of the public, as well as members of the public body, as well as members of the public, may access this meeting in person or via virtual means. In-person attendance will be at the meeting location listed above and that I just stated, and it is possible that any or all members of the public may attend remotely within person attendance consisting of members of the public. The meeting may also be accessible remotely via the town's on-demand video web broadcast, on cable television, on channel 191, or dial into the meeting at 774-304-1455. Enter 1428 pound for the meeting number and 12345 for the access code. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town's website. When required by law or allowed by the chair, persons wishing to provide public comment or otherwise participate in the meeting may do so in person by in-person attendance or accessing the meeting remotely as noted above. Okay, with that, we have a quorum check. We have 3 members here, 2 members missing. David Barnacle, Stephen Chidester, and Ed Goodwin. So we have a quorum. That said, Stephen, you want to go ahead and read that?
We only have one person missing, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, that's, well, can we call Halterman missing for at least a couple weeks? You're correct.
In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area, and/or within the 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body, or resource area in accordance with Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. These items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
You sound like you read that before.
Going to have to pass it on.
Thank you. All right. 6:05, we hit 35 Bennett's Road, notice of intent, landscape improvements, DEP file number 300-1106. Owner is Michael Syriac, and do we have anybody representing here?
Yep, we have Jason Dubois on the
All right.
go-to meeting.
Go ahead, Becky.
Yep, so I'll let Jason go over the project. Just quickly, just want to state that we did receive notification of posting of the legal ad and the abutter notifications to open the public hearing. Jason, do you want to quickly go over the project?
Sure. Jason Dubois, DC Engineering and Survey. Hold on, I'm just getting
I'm going to share my
weird
screen.
message on my screen. So the project, 35 Bennett's Road, it's an existing single-family dwelling on Lead Mine Pond, and the applicant is looking to basically do some landscaping improvements out on the site. I know some of you or all of you have been out to the site to take a look. There is currently some landscaping, some patios and walkways and such on the property, but they are looking to redo some of those and add a few more landscape features. The closest item to the resource area, to the pond, would be the stone wall that's located down along the water with the beach area that is below it. They're looking to rebuild that wall and redo the stairs. And from those stairs, they'll be looking to add some stepping stones throughout the property And along the southern side of the house, on the bottom side of the screen there, they're looking to add some, little sitting walls and some planting beds, and some more paver walkways. That's pretty much the project.
Okay, yeah, I've been out to the site, and I know some members of the board had the opportunity to go out there too. Like Jason said, most of it is a landscaping project with an existing developed single-family house on the lake. Question came in with DEP. I went back and looked at the photos I had taken when I was out there. A question about pretty much where bank is, where resource area, mean annual high water line is, in relation to the wall work. Would a Chapter 91 license be required? Is it actual work and resource area? I went back, I did talk to Jason about it, went back, looked at those. It does look like the portion of the wall where the steps are would be outside of resource area, looking at where water staining is on part of the wall and on the beach area, you can see that the water goes up to. So it doesn't look like the water actually goes up to that step of the wall. So it looks like it's probably just outside of resource area there. So it does look like it would just be a buffer zone project. My only comment, kind of question, just for clarification, I think it would be necessary to just have something outlined where exactly that wall work and would end associated with those steps. Is it just the steps, or is there a small portion of that wall they want to repair to? Because I think it says steps and wall to be rebuilt in same location. So just to define that, so that way we know it's not on the bank of the pond or not.
It's basically the entire wall that wraps around that entire U shape. They want to rebuild that.
Okay,
So I mean,
part of that's flagged, so it's flags A3 to A4. I can zoom in a little bit here, I guess that might be useful. I mean, if they want to do work on the actual bank, so where the flagging is, that's actually going to be considered bank. And on this side, then that's actual, work within resource area, so we would
It's
need to have that, right, that would be, not that they couldn't get approval for it, but we need to know how many linear feet of bank modification that would be required there.
Okay, I was under the assumption that the entire wall section was outside of the bank area from flag A3 to A6.
Yeah, looking at the photos and looking at how he flagged it, I would say no. I would say that the wall, you can see the water line staining and actual water, when I had gone out there on that portion of the wall from A3 to A4, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I can verify that with the contractor and see. I believe they wanted to do the whole thing, so if that section between A3 and 4 and then 5 and 6, they do want to replace that, I can add that and get the total length of that bank.
Yeah, that would probably be necessary.
Any questions?
What do you anticipate is the reason that the wall has a problem? What was the cause, do you suspect?
I'm going to just guess the age of the wall, just from being there for a while, but I'm not 100% sure.
So you don't think wave action had anything to do with it?
I mean, it's possible that it's wave action, and just over time, I don't know what the drainage is like behind the wall. It might not have sufficient drainage, crushed stone behind it as well to let the water out.
Well, the reason for my question is because if it was not just an age issue, but it was also a wave issue, then we'd like to know how it was being replaced in such a way that wave action would not become a further issue in the future.
I don't believe it's wave only because it's so far up from the shoreline. It actually, the plan shows about 7 feet or so from the edge of the water. So I don't believe that the waves are actually getting up that far.
And that's at mean high water?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
except for those two sections between A3 and 4 and 5 and 6 where it's closer.
Stephen?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Michael, Ed Goodwin, in looking at it, it's a simple flat field stone wall now. At its height, it's, what is it, 1.5 feet high?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, there's no height to it. There's no, quote, lack of stability to the wall. It's simple, flat stones. What are you turning it into?
I believe they want to keep it the same type of wall, a field stone wall.
Isn't that, Mr. Chairman, isn't that something that we have to have on the plan?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I don't,
I can clarify that.
I need verification on it. Are they going to neaten it? Are they going to replace it?
And if so, with what?
Yeah, because like you said, Michael, it's not in the water. It's right on the edge of the water. It's within our 25-foot no structure. It's a simple wall, and the beach is a simple beach, and the dock seems to be in good order. And then there's a clump of trees at either end. And my question is, what's going to happen there on either side? If there's going to be a excavated down there, you know, trenching a base, et cetera, cleaning out the wall that's there, that's a lot of mess. So I'd like to hear what the plan is for that wall.
Okay.
The rest of it,
I can certainly-
I don't have a problem with. The
Okay.
walk,
I can certainly give you, details on the wall.
say again?
I can certainly get you details on the wall for the next hearing.
Right, and then with that, just figure out what the linear feet of bank that you're proposing to work on is for both of those sections too.
Yeah.
Because that will need to be noted on the orders of conditions.
The other comment I have, Michael, and it's just a comment, the lawn was saturated. You know, it's a nice flat lawn sloping toward the water, but it was like walking on sponge. Is there anything that's going on? Is there piping in there, or?
That I'm unaware of. We were out there.
I only
before all the rain.
because if you start working in there, and it might have been when we went, but you know, it wasn't a wet day or anything.
I can ask the homeowner of the contract if they know anything about that as well.
All right. So you'd like a continuation?
Yes, please.
All in favor of a continuation?
Do we need to check with the public? Just-
Yep. Before we do the continuation, is there anybody in the public who'd like to speak on this? Becky, you want?
Yeah, is there anyone on the public line who would like to speak in regards to the notice of intent for 35 Bennett's Road, landscaping improvements? Again, is there anyone on the line who'd like to speak in regards to 35 Bennett's Road, notice of intent? Nope.
Now we're all in favor of,
All in favor? Yep.
Yep.
So Jason, that would be August 17th.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 6:15. Aaron, could you give the gentleman in the back left there a copy of the agenda? Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. 6:15, 392 Main Street, RDA work in support of an ongoing environmental assessment and remediation of the site. The owner applicant is Shell Oil, and the representative is Econtos Groundwater.
Yep.
And the microphone is unidirectional, so it's best if you speak right into it, please.
Okay.
He tells me that about 4 times a meeting.
More like 10.
Yeah. Becky, you want to give an introduction? Do you have anything to say first?
Sure. So this is an RDA that was filed. It appears we have some work within 200 feet of wetland. It appears that we're probably just outside of riverfront area associated with the Quinnebog River here. The work is part of an ongoing environmental assessment for site remediation. Based off the application, it appears that soil remediation started back in the 1980s on this site.
Late 80s, yep.
Yep, and the work, I'll let you go into a little more detail of it, but performing remedial additive injection pilot tests, which include installation of injection wells and a monitoring well. And work is performed to address residual petroleum impacts to soil and groundwater. So, I mean, the only thing, you know, to recommend to add in here potentially is if, or what amount of soil gets pulled out of the site, if it's gonna be stockpiled on the site, just thinking about stormwater inlets in that area, which lead to resource areas, some type of protections for any stockpiling and or to automatically remove materials off-site. That would be my only recommendation. And as it's an RDA, my recommendation would be issuance of a positive number 5. It would be subject to the local bylaw. Add a condition for the soil removal stockpiling, as I mentioned, and the negative number 1 for this. Is there anything you want to add about the project?
I would just say, as far as the removal of soil and stockpiling, the only soil that's going to be removed is during the installation of the monitoring wells, which is done through hollow stem auger drill rig.
Okay.
The soil is drummed and stored for offsite disposal. So with respect to proximity to the wetlands, storage of the drums would probably be on the other side of BT Smokehouse, which is the furthest away from the wetlands.
Okay.
Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get the drums profiled for waste disposal and pickup, so they'd be around for a couple weeks.
Okay, but they'll be in drums anyway.
In
so-
drums, yep.
Great.
All right?
So there will be, excuse me, there will be some soil that will be piled for a period of time?
So when the drilling is conducted, the soil comes up through the flights of the auger and are automatically shoveled into drums.
So in addition to what our agent had indicated for carrying it away, I also think that there should be some tarpaulin or other form of rain-resistant material that you can cover it with because of the type of storms that we've been getting for the last several months.
We can deploy straw wattle around the back of the drill rig, putting down water, like plastic or some kind of membrane is not advisable just because of the slip hazard of wet tarp and the workers on the back of the rig.
Yep.
But deploying straw wattle around the back would prevent any runoff from
Right.
the back of the rig.
All we want to do is prevent migration.
Yep. And if, I don't believe there are any storm drains on the site itself. I think the closest one is in Main Street, directly in front of the station. But we could make provisions with the DPW to install filter fabric in the catch basin if necessary, if that
Okay.
makes you guys more comfortable.
Yep. Yeah, that's additional protection, but if we get another 3 or 4 inch rainstorm,
Agreed, yeah.
Right.
And just to give you some context on the scope of how long, the duration of the drilling, it's probably a day's worth of work to do the well installation. So it's not an expansive project, which is going to, carry over several days.
okay.
Okay. Anything?
So this is a biologic additive that you're putting? So it's a chemical additive. It's an oxidizer, sodium persulfate. Okay. And the objective is to enhance
the bioremediation of the residual petroleum contaminants that are remaining in the groundwater adjacent to the existing tank grave.
Okay. It was a specialty of mine in grad school, so I was just.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It was a specialty of mine in grad
Oh, okay.
school, so.
Yeah, it's a common remedial additive that used to degrade petroleum contamination.
What's the average life of the sodium sulfate?
I'm sorry?
What is the average life of the sodium sulfate?
The sodium sulfate, the half-life, it gets consumed fairly quickly. I don't know the exact life expectancy of it in the subsurface. I do have my engineer on the phone, I believe, who might be able to answer that for me, Megan Proya. I know she had some difficulty getting onto the call.
I don't know if she did the. Oh, Megan, are you on the line?
Yep.
Oh, great.
Yep, I'm here. I don't have that information at my fingertips, but I'm seeing if I can find it.
So but to give you additional information there, the injection area, the radius of influence of how far the persulfate will spread beyond the well is about 15 to 20 feet from the injection point.
So doesn't that put it even closer to the Quinnebog?
It's going to, it will expand out beyond the intent is to inject into these wells, and it will spread laterally about 15 to 20 feet from the injection point.
And is it harmful to other vegetation? For example, are trees going to be impacted by this?
No.
Do you have an estimated total duration of how long this is going to take to?
So the pilot test, it's probably a day or two to install the wells.
Right.
And then the pilot test is a 2-day pilot test. We'll be injecting approximately 200 gallons of sodium persulfate into each of the wells per day, so approximately 600 gallons total into each per day, 400 gallons per well. And then there's also an activator solution of ferrous sulfate that gets injected as well.
So if this is a pilot test, what are you looking for and what would be the next step?
So the pilot test is intended to evaluate how effective this technology is to clean up the residual petroleum. If it is successful, we would go through the MCP process of reevaluating the remedial alternatives for the site and design a full-scale injection program.
All right?
What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal of the project is to remediate the groundwater and achieve regulatory closure for the site.
So the groundwater at the present time is believed to be impacted.
The groundwater is contaminated, yep, at concentrate. So the applicable groundwater standards for this site is GW1 because of the proximity to the public supply well. So we need to clean up the site to the drinking water standards.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right. With that, want to hear from the public?
Is there anyone in the audience or on the public line who would like to speak in regards to the request for determination of applicability for 392 Main Street? Nope.
Okay. We have a motion to close the public hearing
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
and discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none? Would you? No? All right, all in favor? All right, do I have a motion?
I'd like to move that we approve the process as indicated today.
With the positive number 5? You know, subject to the bylaw as you've written here?
Yep.
Okay.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All set.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. You can stay the rest of the meeting. It's
Oh, I appreciate
He has a
that.
long ride home. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Right on schedule.
All right, what?
6:25, you're right on time.
All right. We're at 100 Paradise Lane?
Nope.
Nope,
Nope.
231, 233, and 235 Cedar.
Oh, man, I'm jumping, all right. Sorry about that. I'm on the wrong schedule. All right. So we're on 231, 233, and 235 Cedar Street, continuation of an ANRAD, abbreviated notice, resource area delineation, DEP file number 300-1090. All right. Michael and Gail Young, represented by P. McManus.
So we have a written request for a continuation on the ANRAD. So just as a reminder, we were reviewing the ANRAD, and the outcome was that they need to file a notice of intent to
Right.
do the wetland replication and the installation of the pipes for the wetland connections on there. They just submitted the notice of intent, which will be on our next meeting agenda to review. Therefore, we need to put the ANRAD on hold, as they don't have we won't have any update for this at this time. So we're actually gonna, the request is to continue to September 21st. That way it allows the notice of intent to be reviewed, and they can hopefully start some of that replication work, and that way we can move forward with the ANRAD at that time. That's what I'll get.
Do they need to have it extended all the way to the 21st?
Well, the next meeting is the 17th,
Yep.
and we have the notice of intent on that meeting, so there'll be no action that
Oh,
you can
there'll be
take
no
on the
action.
ANRAD, so it doesn't make sense to continue it at that time. And therefore, the 21st is the following meeting after the 17th, it's the next meeting that we have because of the Labor Day holiday. Therefore, if everything's okay, we can issue approval, they can hopefully get that started, get the work started in September, so.
All right.
Just check if there's any public comment, I guess.
Anyone in the audience or on the public line that would like to speak in regards to the ANRAD for 231, 233, and 235 Cedar Street? Nope.
All in favor of the continuation? Becky, we're all in favor.
Thank you.
Can we do the meeting minutes from the last?
Mm-hmm.
All right. David, you had some comments on the minutes?
No, I had questions. If we go to the fiscal section, which is section 5, which is section 6, and go to the 5th bullet down, what it says is, despite the inclusion of resource areas, it appears that they have addressed the previous comments. That's very vague. It doesn't tell me exactly what we're talking about relative to previous comments. And if we were to read this a month from now to help us identify what's going on, we would be in the dark. Next, it says, alternative analysis was provided. A waiver request is received. Well, I don't remember signing a waiver request or agreeing to a waiver, but it says that a waiver request was received. And then it says, appears to be sufficient for restoration work within the no disturb area. Again, I didn't understand that. And then the whole business about the rain garden. Rain garden may not be considered a structure, but we already agreed that we can fill that out. Aaron can take care of that, because it has to do with what was said specifically by one of our environmental engineers.
Art Allen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Aaron's going to take care of that section of it.
That section to say, to read, that the rain garden appears to meet the definition of structure according to our third party.
Right.
My problem with this section, as I just explained to Aaron at the beginning of the meeting, or before the meeting began, is that if we look for clarity in our minutes, and you look at that paragraph regarding the rain garden, you get totally confused because you don't know exactly which direction we're going in.
Right.
And we need to be able to look at that and say, this is what we agreed to, and this is the process that we want to follow. We don't want to have lots of lingering questions.
Right.
Now, the problem is that I was not able to figure out language that would straighten it out. Otherwise, I would have helped Aaron do it.
Well, part about
Or we'd like
referencing
to
Art
table
Allen.
it, and I can re-rate that, and you can approve it at the next meeting. That's-
Yeah, I think that would be really appropriate. We can approve the rest of the minutes, because I thought the rest of the minutes were perfect. And then maybe work on just that one paragraph.
Well, maybe table the whole thing?
Yeah.
And do it as one?
Yeah,
I don't know if you,
Yeah, I think
you'd have to bring it back anyways, I think.
you might do that. That's-
All right, I'll do it either way. Which way do you want to do it?
okay. Do the whole minutes delayed.
Table it till
Yeah,
next.
table it and do the whole minutes.
And yes, we all agree.
With the reference, we all agree.
Yep.
And like David, I didn't understand that either.
However, we should mention that the minutes were great as usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have 4 minutes to the next public hearing. I didn't know, we do have one person in the audience, buddy, are you here for something?
Just to participate, witness.
Okay, I didn't know if you know, had a non-agenda item you wanted to discuss with the board or not, or, okay. Okay. So, and Lenny, I know you're up next, you got a couple of public hearings here, but since we have a couple minutes, do you want to go through some of the wetland decisions on here? All right.
Sure.
All right, number 7 on here is Interstate 84 at Quinnebog River. This is a request for certificate of compliance, DEP file number 300-938. This is an older project, not too much older, but before my time, so I reviewed the file, went by. This was, let me find it in my notes here. This was an impaired waters remediation project that DOT proposed on Route 84. What they were doing stormwater BMP improvements. They took out some paved swales, put in new basins and new vegetated swales with why can't I speak? Check dams in there. So there was some substantial stormwater improvements they put in there. I did receive a letter of substantial compliance from the engineer saying that it was completed in compliance. I've gone by through there, did not stop and go on 84, but on 15 and 84 to see that project. So I would recommend issuance of the COC with perpetual conditions that were noted in the orders of conditions, which were special conditions 25 through 30.
Becky, is there a schedule by which Mass DOT notifies you of cleaning of these?
No.
So in fact, once they get installed, it's up to the town to clean them?
No, these would be on their maintenance program. How often they do that and what their maintenance schedule is, that I don't know, but that is one of the perpetual conditions in here, to follow the O&M plan that they had for it.
Well, you see why I'm asking, because that gets pretty scary when we ask them for the latest blueprint in order to do the work that we needed to do to fix things where water was coming off of the Mass Turnpike and seriously impacting Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
They showed us a 1955 plan. I would not like us to have 40 years' worth of no pumping out of those systems.
Well, I
Right.
challenge that. I think the Route 20 intersection of 149 was even older.
Yes, it was completely filled,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, the plans were older. Those were like
Plans were older,
1910.
yeah, they were like, yeah. That's what I meant, but I was gonna let them go with it.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had Mr. Kowalski go up to the corner of Holland Road and Route 20 and clean out one of the basins in order to be able to get some flow off from the property that he was maintaining.
Right.
All right, so,
So we have no schedule.
I mean, they have a schedule, and, I mean, there was an O&M that was submitted with this. I don't know exactly what it said the schedule was, but it is one of the perpetual conditions to follow it, so.
Yeah.
do you have a contact, Becky?
At DOT?
Yeah.
I have a few.
What?
I have a few.
Well, if there's one, we could just send a note and ask them
Sure.
what the schedule is.
Yep.
Committee would like to know.
And when you get the answer, keep a straight face.
Okay,
We gonna vote on this?
yeah. Do you want to go to the public for this? I don't think we need. to.
No.
Okay.
It's not a public hearing.
So I have a motion to,
Issue, yeah.
Issue a certificate of
Issue-
compliance.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance.
With the perpetual conditions.
Yes.
Special conditions 25 to 30.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Thanks for the prompt, Stephen.
Yep.
All right, we're now, what's?
Number 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hundred Paradise.
Yep. 100 Paradise Lane, I tried to do that before, you guys let me
Right.
go.
Now you can.
100 Paradise Lane, notice of intent, raise and rebuild, DEP file number 300, we don't have a file number?
Correct. No file number.
Lenny, no file number.
Bye.
Tell you, Lenny, you gotta get that son of yours off the boat and get him to work, you know?
Oh, yeah, you're right. The picture, yep, that's why.
There we go.
Just don't know how to zoom on the picture here.
Lenny, is it still taking them about a month to come up with numbers?
It takes over a month just to talk to them.
Yeah, so I don't know if we told you this before, I forget how long ago, it was probably about 4 or 5 months ago, DEP had sent an email, Central Region, saying that their files numbers are up 60% in the past year, and they're understaffed. They're short-staffed right now, too, so they've seen a big increase in Central Region on filings, which we have, too, so. And right, it seems like they are taking a while, unless it's a very simple project. Sometimes they seem to come in within a couple weeks, but they are taking a bit longer.
All right? Lenny?
Do you want me to proceed, or just, with it, just continue, or what would you like done?
Well,
We can talk about it. right?
yeah, I mean, I think it's useful to open it, and that way if they have any questions or comments, you know, those are things that could be incorporated prior to the next meeting, so if you have a file number, you'd be in a position for approval if they have comments.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to push you off. I was, you know,
Well, I said bye.
I know, but I thought you were being sarcastic.
Not me.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to give you a,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say, we do have the, we do have the receipt, the legal ad.
the abutters list is here, and then the legal ads have, was submitted, but the thing is, I paid the bill for the legal ad, but I don't know what happened. I mean, something, I paid $132 for one legal ad and $176 for the second one.
Holy
And
smoke.
I only ordered one, but I paid the bill for $308 anyway. So I don't know what the heck's going on with that
They
deal.
only printed it once.
Huh?
They only printed it once.
I got the check for $308 that I wrote for it. It's just, I don't know what to say, it's crazy, but anyway, that's beside the point. It's
So I'd
only-
give them a call.
Yeah, it's crazy, but what happened, when we went over there to Paradise Lane, what we're actually doing there is we're raising the single-family home, which is basically 99% within the 50-foot buffer zone, and we're relocating it in a westerly direction now. We're only going to be less than 1% of the building itself to be within the 50 foot. So we've come up basically with a 99% increase in land usage within the 50 feet. There's a small encroachment, and the reason for the encroachment is because of land constraints. The garage which is going on the property was set back from the Paradise Lane at 30 feet, giving us no option whatsoever of moving it. And then it was roughly 28 feet from the garage to the house, which is a minimum turnaround distance for vehicles, which is actually 30 feet, but it's close enough to take it, to go back out onto the Paradise Lane. By doing that and putting the house in, we're actually ending up with a lot coverage of only 14.75%, which is under the threshold of the 15%. And in our actual rear distance from the porch steps, not the building itself, is 45.3 feet from the lake. The setbacks for the building itself is basically 16 feet on the easterly side and 20 feet on the westerly side. So we conform to the side setbacks and the frontage setbacks from the street and the coverage. We have a meeting with the Zoning Board of Appeals next week for this, the comment period. Nothing happened. I don't foresee anything other than getting an approval from the ZBA for the special permit that's required on this particular lot. The house itself basically now is under duress, and the fact there's actually a tree that fell on top of the existing house, which they'd like to remove, but didn't want to touch anything because it would jeopardize his chances for the construction of the new building. In order to guarantee his building removal, he has to get the permit for the building plus the removal of the building to keep the building permit for the new construction and to save the lot, and that's what he's doing. So it's kind of a catch-22, okay? If there's any questions, the lot itself is furnished with, serviced with the town water, a private well and town sewers. So what you see here is basically the sewer ejection pump is already on the lot, which was serviced from the old building, which will be using that, and then the new well will be going in on the property. So there's nothing there. And then the front of the property itself, what's going to be done there is that the front of the house, there's going to be the new dock area that's going to be installed, and that's going to be installed by Ground Effects Environmental from East Brookfield. And the process of doing that basically is they're going under a Chapter 91 approval, and what is required there under the Chapter 91 approval is the first thing you have to do is put a which they will do that, is put a legal ad into the paper stating that the meeting will take place on such and such a date, and you have to notify the DEP on the date that it would be in the paper, and then from that, we have a comment period for comments on it, which is 90 days, and we'd have to locate the Board of Selectmen, the Harbor Master, the Planning Board, Conservation, get applicable comments from the Conservation, the Planning Board, and the Board of Selectmen, and the abutters, which would be on the north and south side of this property, to go before DEP, and then DEP at that time would issue a order for the Chapter 91. In the event that the Chapter 91 became affirmative, it would be good for 14 years. That's basically what happens there.
That'll be coming to us, right?
Please?
That will be coming to us in the
It's
future.
mandated in order to work and
Right,
get
yeah.
it. You have to notify them that you either accept it or not accept it,
Right,
okay?
yep.
That's also true for the selectmen and also true for the planning board.
Right.
So it's actually a three-edged deal. So that'll happen. The legal ad and everything is already written and everything, but they haven't said it, it's not in the paper yet, so
Right.
I don't know. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
David, any questions?
I have two. Lenny, what is the acreage of this property?
The acreage is roughly 3.32 acres, a third of an acre, less than a third of an acre.
I had the
I'd say.
impression that it was less than an acre, but .32 is significantly less than an acre.
Well, considerably, yes, but it's actually, the actual acreage is 12,230 square feet.
Yeah, so the size of this room.
A little bit bigger, yeah. Right.
Are they building this new house on the footprint of the old house?
No.
It's back from.
We're moving it back 50 feet from the old house. The old house actually is 21 feet away from the lake.
Right, and the
That's
new
the
one
old
is
house.
49 feet away from the lake.
Yep.
So that's only 21 feet.
What's 21 feet from the building to the lake with the new existing building. The existing building is 21 feet from the lake. Okay? We're actually taking, the steps coming off the new building would be 45.3 feet. So we're actually, we doubled the distance from the lake.
And where is the porch being located? Toward the water or toward the back of the house?
The porch is actually towards the water.
So is that being included on the 50-foot?
No, actually, if you took the porch off, which is 9 feet, it would be, the house itself actually would be 54 feet from the lake.
The porch is in the plan. That was your question, right?
Wait, you haven't seen the plan? May I have the liberty to show it to them, or have you seen it?
Yeah, it's on,
Oh, okay.
it's right here.
Wish I had a pointer that I could
Yeah,
show them what.
okay, thank you. 0.3 acres.
0.32.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I missed that part.
Well, just to make you more amazed, under state law, okay, if it has 5,000 square feet, period, it's buildable by state law. Not 12,000, but 5,000.
Stephen?
Yeah, so Lenny, I have a couple concerns. I'm trying to understand this slab one, that, so there's a new driveway that comes into, is that an actual garage? Or,
That's actually a two-story garage.
okay,
Slab one would be, which is basically even with Paradise Lane. And there's two cars up above, and then slab two is down below, which is even with the walkout of the new building.
right.
And that's roughly 13 feet below the one up above.
So, I appreciate that they're moving the house back, that's great. But the concern I have is that this seems to be a tremendous amount of paving, impervious surfaces that are being added to this, really small lot. And there's a huge number of trees coming down, mature trees. So, and I don't see any kind of a planning plan for how to replace, some of these trees. And I'm not sure I understand the need for, most of the available space to be paved, from what it looks like to me. You've got looks like you have two driveways.
That is correct. We have
And
one
an extra
on the
parking
east
space.
and one on the west, right.
Yeah.
I mean, if let's put it this way, if you find that the pervious area is such that is detrimental, it could be done that the driveway itself be paved with pervious pavers rather than hardtop.
Yeah, I would definitely
then I'd say,
appreciate
fine,
that.
you can put that in a restriction, and that would be fine, as far as I'm concerned.
But I guess I'm still concerned at the total area of that too. I mean, it's just, so in other words, there's, a couple of these trees, it looks like wouldn't be necessary to bring them down if you didn't have all these turnarounds and stuff. I mean, I understand that they need to be able to get down there and then turn around.
It's such a small lot, to be honest with you. If you built the house and got the vehicles down there to build the house, all those trees are gonna go anyway. I don't know if you looked at the site, but it's, the site from Paradise Lane to the lake itself, okay, is 83, so it's almost 30-foot drop.
Yeah.
It's like this, okay? So it's not good, it's not easy.
So there's no proposal to replace any of these trees?
No, he's just gonna landscape in the front and just take the trees that are left there and leave it as is.
And Ed, did you walk the site? I wasn't able to.
Yeah, I did. It might be a serious consideration to look at a couple trees for the front of that, in that landscaping plan that you're talking about.
You could put in the front right now.
Yeah,
There's
next to the water.
There's 3 or 4 big ones, if you saw, right in the front. We're
Right.
not taking any of those out.
Yeah, but even in addition to that, if you push it back, if you're pushing the house back, which you are,
Right.
you still have an area of open lawn there.
We could put a few deciduous trees in that area,
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
And that, and your pervious pavers, if you added that to it, I think it would make it a better plan.
Right,
Now, Michael's interested in looping the 2 driveways together, right?
correct.
It's,
What happens in where his house is, which is right beside it.
Yeah.
When you drive into the thing, the only way we can get his car out of there is back out onto Paradise Lane. This way here, he's got the circular traffic going through, so now he doesn't have to back out onto the lane, he can actually drive on it.
Yeah, but that's not supposed to be our concern. Our concern is protecting the watershed.
I
And you can't protect the watershed if you continue to put in impervious materials. I don't even agree with putting in pervious pavers, because pervious pavers require that there is constant maintenance. And you and I both know that the average homeowner is not going to do the kind of maintenance that is required to make those pavers pervious. After a couple of years, they're going to be completely filled in, and they're going to act just like a routine driveway that is tarred. It's a tiny, tiny lot, I agree with you, but there isn't any reason to consider it to be blacktop from one end to the other, except for where the house is.
all right.
Okay.
You have some input, Lenny.
Yep,
Hey, actually, just one more
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. So Lenny, I don't know if you can see
I can point out wherever
Yeah.
you explain it.
so I'm trying to understand so this driveway is connecting to the neighbor's property to the south, is that?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, all right. So that was the reason for that extra turnaround, is to connect those two.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just that half of it's paved, half the lot's paved, it looks like to me.
Well, wait a minute, does that become a shared driveway, which is not permitted in town?
No, I don't think no, it's not a shared driveway, it's a connected driveway. There is an entrance for a driveway on both properties.
Right.
That makes my case even stronger for not having that driveway.
I'm sorry you figured that out, we're gonna be here longer, I guess. No, I'm
All right, those are my two
yeah,
comments.
Lenny, you got those points?
Got those points, yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add, I think, Lenny, we mentioned this before, but the shoreline work, including the dock, is a different category per DEP's filing, so you just need to include a separate filing fee for that under DEP's worksheet for the filing, so you get the category 2 for the house. This is a category 5 for the dock, linear, and the linear shoreline work too.
Yeah, there's also, it's a category too, for filing of the Chapter 91, there's a $100 fee too, so.
Right, with the DEP waterways,
Yeah.
yep. And as far as the Chapter 91, we would just add a condition that the Chapter 91's received before they start
Okay.
that work too. So that way they could potentially start the other work, it's just they would need it before starting the shoreline work. All permits in place.
Yeah, the dates for compliance with Chapter 91 are really tight, because you have to notify them and then appear on that day with the equipment ready to go.
So Becky, when can we continue this to? 17th?
Next meeting is August 17th?
Fine.
Ed, you should ask the public too.
Yep, I will.
Is there anyone in the audience or on the public line who would like to speak in regards to the 100 Paradise Lane Notice of Intent? Again, anyone on the line who would like to speak in regards to the 100 Paradise Lane Notice of Intent?
No. Having none, all in favor of a continuation to the next meeting? I thought Lenny was going back to go call in
Oh, no.
from the public.
No, he still had the pen in his mouth. We knew he was coming back.
You all set, Lenny?
Yep.
All right,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. All right, we are now at 645, 59 Bennett's Road, raise and rebuild, single-family house, septic system, well, and associated work, DP file number 300-1103. And the engineer is,
Did you have the one, is that under 1103? Do you have the revision 6 on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
So-
yep. Yeah, I looked at that today, yeah. Yeah. So this is a continuation. This is a project where our public hearing was put on hold as there was some potential changes needed in regards to the variances that would be required for setbacks to wells and septic systems for a new septic and well on this property. Mr. Jalbert, going through the Board of Health process, has a revised plan which still requires approval, but wanted to bring it back to the commission to go over. So the only change that I'm aware of on the plan is this new septic system that I'll let Lenny go over. And he's indicated previously that as far as the house and the limit of work shown on that side of the property on the lake, that there would be no tree removal required for the modifications there. We did revise this, so it was, Erin did that, it was a little bit clearer. The black outline on here is the existing structure, which a small portion of it was within the 25-foot, and the pinkish color on here is the new structure, so they did pull that back a little bit. It's still a new structure within feet of the lake, which would require a waiver. And he can go over, options to move that if you request that. What he's showing for mitigation here would be drip strips for roof runoff infiltration on the side of the structure here. No work is proposed outside of the erosion control, which is pretty much at the 25-foot buffer zone, no shoreline work. The dock is existing. Anything you want to add, Lenny?
No, that's it. What it is we're actually going before the Board of Health this coming Monday at 2 o'clock to go over the septic system that's going in. And what it is, it's actually a innovative system, which is the newest system, or should I say, the best system available for disposal of sewage, where the effluent itself through the sand filter system comes out of the thing for discharge, which is actually clear. And according to the state regulations, you could actually use the discharge to water your lawn. That's how clear it is. I would.
is that how clear it is or how stupid the state is?
I don't know, I wouldn't drink it. but that's what they say.
Don't bring me a bottle of it and say, you can drink this, Ed.
But anyway, that's what it is. What actually taking place here is the house itself is going basically within the footprint of the existing house, other than the fact that we moved it back just a little bit. So part of the old house is closer to the lake than the new one, where it's basically a foot difference, but still, it's right there.
The square footage on the new house looks considerably bigger than the old house.
It's a little bit bigger, yes, but we're trying to stay within the footprint of the existing house and try to stay within the setback of the town, and we've got it, which it'll be perfectly fine. And we got no encroachments for the town, which we should be getting approved from with the zoning board of appeals.
Lenny, I don't think you just answered my question.
It is, I said it is a little bigger.
But your answer as to why it is a little bit bigger doesn't make any sense. You can make it the same size.
Not really. The place was it was just an out cottage before. What they're trying to do is make a year-round residence out of this.
I don't know that that's a part of the conversation.
I know. I did realize but this is what the client wants, a little bit bigger house.
Well, you'll have to bring it to the board. I'm just, from my point of view, what I saw up there when I looked at it, and you don't have to mark it off where the new house is going to be, because I think there's going to be serious tree loss along the sides. You're not going to be able to build that house without taking down some of those trees, particularly in the corner, as you look at the slide, on the bottom corner next to the road. There's a hump there that's going to have to come out. So I really don't, I'd have to look at it on site because I could be completely wrong, but I don't think it really, the site is too small for the size of the house that you're proposing. Just my single opinion. You've got 4 members and you can, but I mean, it's got to be a consideration. You're saying that they're grandfathered into a tiny, teeny, tiny lot, and then you're making the house bigger. Not only in square footage, but also vertically. And then you're going to walk out on the water side.
Okay,
Yep, I agree.
okay, we'll take that as a comment, yep.
Yep. David, you have any comments?
Oh, no, you said it masterfully.
I'm sorry if I was too aggressive. It just, standing on that, Lenny, I couldn't figure out how I could build that house.
Would there be any other comments?
No.
Okay, I'd like to request a,
But we'd like information on the septic system from the point of view of the commission. That's good news if there's.
Yeah. If you have any documentation
You get
regarding
documentation
exactly
on-
what it is. that
on
would
what
be-
it is. I was
that'd be
being
really good.
we'll
sarcastic.
have what?
Documentation for that septic system. It would be really good for us to be able to look at it.
I'll be happy to make.
Not drink it, look at
I'll be
it.
happy to make a copy of it for you.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks, Sonny.
It's
Becky, you want to see if there's anybody in the audience who would like to speak to this?
I don't. Here it is right here, but I'll make a copy and I'll give it to Becky too.
Is there anyone in the audience or on the public line who would like to speak in regards to the public hearing for 59 Bennett's Road, notice of intent? Again, anyone on the public line who'd like to speak in regards to 59 Bennett's Road, notice of intent? There's nobody on the line, we're in the audience.
Lenny, would you like a continuation?
Would you like me to make
Yes, he asked for one.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a motion?
Make a
right now,
copy
and I
of
can
it?
give it back to you?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we
Make a
continue
copy
the
of
public
that.
hearing to the
This is
next
also the
available date.
legal
All right.
certification too.
I second that.
There you
All
go.
right. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? You're continued, Lenny, to the next available date.
August 17th.
As an aside, since we're talking about that specific property, I won't talk about that specific property, but as indicated in the past, several times, lots have had to have a lot of trees taken down. So this weekend, I found out that the Chatham, Massachusetts Conservation Commission has the barnacle law beaten. Instead of 2-for-1 replacement, it most often is 4-for-1 replacement. And if it's waterfront property, which typically is ocean property, their requirement is 14-foot red cedar. I don't want you to even take a wild guess at what each one of those cedars costs
In Chatham?
in Chatham. And there are normal people that live in Chatham. Not everybody can think about the fact that a $1,500 tree costs $2,100 to be planted,
Wow.
and that you have to have more than one of them. So
Well, if you
do
have
not think of us as being really bad guys.
If you just bought a waterfront lot, I don't know what to tell you. We are now at 30 Main Street, 20 Fisk Hill Road. Is Matt online?
I am online, thank you very much.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. All right, are you ready for me yet?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you'll find the ILSF that we discussed at a lot of length, obviously, last week, or no, 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, has been added to the plan. We addressed every other comment besides the buffer zone for the new culverted area down at Route 131. So that's been added to the plan, and I think you'll find that we're, in at least our humble opinion, we've addressed all the comments so far. So I think we feel pretty good about what we've got in front of you now.
All right. Becky?
Yeah, so as he mentioned, they submitted revised plans and a narrative for you. What was last discussed was including the isolated land subject to flooding with the associated buffer zones and buffer zones associated with the culverted intermittent stream bank, as well as the new restored stream on there. So both of those have been added. As far as the ILSF, as noted in the narrative, they did look at using the WPA regs definition of how to define that area, and also consulted with Art Allen and used his photographs of the standing water to do that. So that was how they designated that area. It would appear that a waiver would be required for a portion of the cul-de-sac as shown on the plan. A portion of that would be within the 50-foot buffer zone. No work is shown within 25 feet of that. The value that was noted for the ILSF was flood control, and as they aren't impacting that, it doesn't appear that they will impact the water volume capacity of that wetland there. As far as the waiver for the stream daylight project, that was already discussed at the last meeting, and Art Allen commented on that in his peer review report that we looked at last time. He recommended that as it would be a benefit over the current conditions, restoring that stream and taking out the broken culverted pipe. So, I mean, at this point, it appears they've worked to address those comments. The commission is satisfied with that. I would recommend that at this time that you could approve the project with conditions. Conditions would be required for oversight of the project during construction. There's also wetland replication that's required, which requires oversight, monitoring. There's reporting requirements with that as well as the requirement for perpetual conditions for stormwater O&M activities that would be required for that roadway.
You had written them somewhere. Where did I read them?
I had wrote them in my quick notes that I had given you. I haven't drafted the conditions. I just didn't have the opportunity as I was away last week. to do that, I would recommend that I would draft those and bring those back to you to look at, since I didn't have them prepared in advance, just to make sure all of those, there's multiple conditions for each one of those things are to your satisfaction.
All right. First, David, anything?
Nope, no questions.
No questions? No questions? And I don't either. I have no, other than firming up those controls that you recommended, Becky.
Okay.
And Matt, thanks for the full-sized paperwork.
Yeah, it's all just money.
I don't take it lightly.
Yeah, no, I know you don't. And listen, I know, we're at the end of the line on this, and I do absolutely appreciate the attention of the commission. And I know what your objectives are. Mine are not counter to them. We had a great discussion about the ILSF that was sort of technical, but other than that, I think, I'm on the same page with you guys. I think you know that already, but we'll do this project right, and we'll take care of the things that are important to the commission. They're important to me too. So we'll do it right.
Becky, can check with the audience?
Yep. Is there anyone in the
Wait a minute,
audience?
Hold on, Becky. What?
Hold on for 1 sec. You might want to wait to have the full board for the vote rather than just 3 members for the vote. It might be important to Mr. Sossack's project.
I was thinking that, but I didn't know how you go about that, so it's nice of you to, Matt, you want to wait till the next meeting when we have the details of the, Becky's details?
Yeah.
And
Well, Mr. Chairman, yes, I'm intrigued by Mr. Barnacle's comments, but I do get it. Who is voting tonight? Like I'm on the phone myself, and on vacation, so
good-looking ones.
I'm just not familiar. All the good-looking ones, yeah.
Barnacle,
There's only
Goodwin,
3 of you.
And Stephen. We're missing
Yes,
Eric.
I want. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm intrigued by what we haven't done here to get 3 positive votes, but I want a continuation. I don't. I mean, what else can
I would
can I do to come?
I would recommend a continuation.
Yeah, then I request one.
Becky, you want to check with the audience? Sure.
Is there anyone in the audience or on the public line who would like to speak in regards to the 30 Main Street, 20 Fisk Hill Road notice of intent? Again, anyone on the line who'd like to speak in regards to the notice of intent for 30 Main Street, 20 Fisk Hill Road? There's no one on the line.
With that, do we have a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue.
Second. Second, any further conversation? All in favor? Matt, you have a continuation to the 17th.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Have a great night.
All right,
All right.
Becky, we are,
Number 8, we did number 7 under Wetland Decisions. This is 13 Main Street, a request for certificate of compliance, DEP file number 300-749. This was at our last meeting, and at that time, we were waiting on information about maintenance activities to the stormwater management system and cleaning up some debris on the site. I was notified the day after the meeting that they did do those activities. They just had not, there was a miscommunication with the lawyer and hadn't provided us with that material. So I did get documentation that both have been completed. So at this time, I would recommend issuance of the certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions noted within the permit, general conditions 22, and special conditions 33 through 35.
all right. Somebody like that?
Yeah,
First, we have to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
That's not, you're right.
And I'll second it.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Not a
No,
public
we don't
hearing.
need to.
It's not a public hearing.
Not a public hearing.
Yeah.
I misled you.
So just make the motion to accept the.
Accept it.
The certificate of compliance.
So move.
Approve it.
Accept it.
Okay.
Yep.
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 That's all you have tonight,
You
Lane.
put me in the corner.
Tomorrow.
Did you want it, or do you want it to go to the lawyer?
No, I'll take it.
You'll take it tomorrow afternoon?
Yep, I'll pick it up.
I'll call.
Perfect. Okay, next, number 9, 24 Audubon Way. This is a request for a certificate of compliance, DEP file number 300-471. This is the preserved subdivision. This is one lot within the subdivision. I don't have any concerns with it. This would be a partial release specifically for this property, which is 24 Audubon Way, from the overall preserved subdivision
All right.
permit. No noted perpetual conditions.
Hearing no comments, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the certification as an individual parcel.
A second?
All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Good.
Did I need to say number 9 in the motion? No, you got it.
Number 10, Hull Road Culvert right-of-way. This is to ratify an emergency authorization that Ed and I issued a week and a half ago. We previously did issue, this is for the Sturbridge DPW and Clearview Construction, which is helping them with this. We had previously issued an emergency authorization. DPW was proposing there was a sinkhole in the road, which they did cover with a plate. They're proposing to do a coupling on the culvert. Things on site and adjacent to the site have gotten worse, which was the reason that Ed and I were out there. They're actually now proposing to, within the right-of-way in the road, replace the culvert, the whole culvert under Hall Road, which carries the stream, and then adjacent to that, there's kind of like a little detention area where the stream is culverted under the adjacent property, which is 96 Hall Road. There's portions of that pipe that have now failed and have a sinkhole. They'll be coming back to us with a plan to address that. But what they're proposing to do is connect where the culverted pipe comes off the private property into the right-of-way under the road. So the stream comes out a very small area where it kind of ponds and then goes under the road, some roadway drainage that comes in, a problematic area. So what they're proposing to do is to put a structure there, kind of connecting those pipes and putting a new culvert pipe under Hall Road. Pretty significant issues out there.
And you wonder why we have a conservation commission in our town. When you see a 36-inch pipe go under a building with a perennial stream in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And I was reminding Mr. Chidester on the way in tonight that at one time, one of the engineers in this town proposed that a facility for medical use would be put on that triangle of land, but it would be an elevated building with parking beneath it, so that when the rain was too bad and there was too much water, they'd have to park somewhere else.
It's unbelievable. But I just wanted to describe it to you guys before. It comes through the woods as a perennial stream.
Yeah.
It's got a deep cut. It's not the Grand Canyon, but it's got a deep cut.
You're talking about on Hall Road?
Above Hall.
Above Hall.
Above Hall.
Above, and it comes off
Okay.
of Fisk Hill.
Yeah.
And it goes into the pipe, which is a 36-inch pipe.
Yeah.
And
And under a building?
terrible state of repair. It comes right under the building, and it makes its way to the left.
Yep.
And down into the, to the open area that's there. At the open area, there are at least 5 pipes coming in from other sources of the bill. I don't know if they're blocked or if they're, but in other words, I
Oh,
don't know.
my God.
It could be anything from sump pumps to, but this, and they're all, they've all been cut. So I don't know how they're gonna figure that out, but they're gonna move, the town is gonna move the water down into another, for the temporary, down Hall Road and then across at another crossing while they repair this crossing.
But are they then going to pipe it after it leaves Hall Road
No,
to Route 20? Or are they going to leave that wetland alone?
it's gonna be left alone. It's gonna have one of those spreads with rock in it.
Okay.
Right at the road, and it's gonna be 100% better,
Oh, that'll be a great improvement,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's the emergency we're working under, and we need your approval for it.
Yep.
I make a motion that we approve what you have just described.
Yep. Stephen, anything?
Nope.
All in favor?
Second. Yeah.
Yep, second.
Approved.
All right, Becky, what next?
We're near the end.
Yeah.
If you want to do committee updates, any committee updates?
There is no committee update for CPC.
And there's no committee updates because Trails Committee has not met since our last meeting. Their next meeting is Thursday of next week. It was moved by,
And Eric wanted me to report on the Lakes Committee. But we can't.
Just a couple things, working with Tom Chamberlain and the Federal Highway Administration on our Grand Trunk Trail project. They're kind of getting ready to submit a notice of intent, so they've submitted a partial draft, I would call it, that Aaron and I will be working on to help get that done. They're out of Virginia, and it's the Federal Highway Administration, so they're not familiar with our state processes, so we'll be hopefully getting everything needed to file that notice of intent with them for our September 21st meeting to get that project moving forward. So we'll be working on that. For the next meeting, didn't know for the new fiscal year if you wanted to add the board reorganization. Add that on? Okay.
are you doing the notice of intent for that?
Yes, yeah, so this is the Grand Trunk Trail project off of River Road in Farquhar. So it's
I
from
know
the
where
Ed
it is.
Calcutt Bridge over, it's like a 20-year-old, I think it's about 20 years this has been in the works. So it'll follow.
Easily. Easily 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll follow the old proposed railroad bed through Army Corps. We do have an easement on private property, and then it'll be on our property on 75
At the
Farquhar.
corner, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yep, and it does include, the notice of intent will include roadway improvements at the intersection of River Road and Farquhar as well,
Great.
so.
One
Sounds
of the
good.
most expensive pieces of real estate in the town when they get done. We maintain that we could build that trail, our Trails Committee maintains they can build that trail for 1/100th of the cost, but it's federal project, so it has to go by their rules and regulations. And you would think that you were driving a loaded 18-wheeler across that trail.
It's gonna be a really nice dirt path. Really nice.
Good.
It would be primo.
Hey, we're making progress.
Yep.
Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome.
By the way, Mr. Chamberlain's been working on this probably since 2007 or 2008.
Well, that's what she said.
Well, I think it goes back,
Yeah. The original grant he got, and he worked on it to get, was, I think, at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and the natural heritage filing number that they gave this when they started working on it, because we're in priority habitat, was a 2001 number, so it had to have started before that, so that's
Wow.
20 years, so.
All right, what's next? Got places to go and people to see.
I think yeah, next meeting is, you're right, August 17th.
Mr.
And then, site visits will be on Tuesday. I think at this point, we have one new project?
Unless we go to that tree removal.
Right, so I'll send out the schedule on Friday, as usual.
Great.
All right?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep.
Becky.
Aaron, thanks.
So you'll be out of town